right, welcome back, our football fanatics. So, today we are going to cover the AFC West draft class. Yes, the division where the reigning Super Bowl champs lie. So, first team I'm going to go over, we're going to go over, is the Denver Broncos. I have them as the highest grade. I gave them an A. What about you?
I also gave him an A, surprisingly.
Okay, so John Elway, he's kind of a lot of people are saying because he's kind of gone through quarterbacks like the Bears have or Cleveland, so people are like, oh, he's not very good at being a GM, but I think he's kind of changing it. Drew Lock's going into his second year.
He showed potential at the end of last
Yeah,
season.
and they don't really have a backup plan for if Drew Lock gets hurt though. But he did great last year, and we'll go over the draft picks in a second. But what they added in the draft, all the weapons, I think they're gonna try and keep pace with the Chiefs scoring off.
Oh, he has an arsenal at his hands. It's unbelievable. I
mean, essentially, it's John Elway's. He's acting like he's quarterback again, which is good because he knows what it takes, and the weapons you need to help that offense to win a Super Bowl since he's won a couple Super Bowls.
Well, even in the offseason, they got Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon
from a division foe.
And I love Philip Lindsay. That combination right there, Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, studs. Noah Fant's going into his second year. He had a couple issues with drops last year, but he's an athletic tight end.
Oh, he'll be good.
Yeah, he's an athletic tight end, second year. And, round one, Jerry Jeudy fell to them, number 15.
Yeah, so we're going to start basically with their draft picks. Kyle just began with, he was the number one prospect, wide receiver.
Best route runner in the draft.
They got lucky because
they didn't have to move up to get him.
Yeah, because the Raiders have always been in love with speed.
Mm-hmm.
So Raiders take Ruggs, which lets you get the top prospect, the best all-around receiver coming into the draft without having
Ball said CD Lamb, but
I meant Justin Jefferson. But continue.
Well, so with Jerry Jeudy, the best route runner, and he was the best receiver on
most
arguably they were the second best receiving core, but they were neck and neck with LSU's receiving core, and he was the best receiver on that Alabama offense. And he also had 10 touchdowns. He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, and he had the most catches. So great weapon right there. And then he can complement Courtland Sutton, who's kind of coming into his own himself. Courtland Sutton. So now there's more that other defenses have to scheme for and plan for than just Courtland Sutton.
Well, speaking of having to scheme, you're a Big Ten guy. Getting KJ Hamler the next round, I thought that was a good pickup. It might have been a little bit of a reach, but he's one of those players that if he gets the ball in his hands, he's gonna be dangerous.
Yeah, so
he can turn up the field quickly.
Oh yeah, so KJ Hamler, he was actually a finalist for the award in college football for the most versatile player, most versatile in the country. He was a finalist for it. He could do kick return and punt return even until he comes into his own, and he just adds speed. He'll be great in the slot. He's just he's downfield threat.
He's kind of a typical nightmare for defense coordinators, and what they're going to do is they're going to scheme different plays just to get the ball in his hands. They'll probably do reverses. They'll do a bunch of different pitches to him, screen plays, whatever they can do to get him the ball.
He's gonna spread out the defense,
get him in open field.
So that's you got the speed. You got the route runner. You got Courtland Sutton with the size. You got Noah Fant at tight end. You got the two running backs. You got Drew Lock in another year. So the offense is stepping up. And then they also got Lloyd Cushenberry, Corey, center from LSU.
Big, yeah, he's going to be big. I give him I think he'll get playing time this season, but within year two, he'll be their starting center.
Well, and
great, smart, physical pass protector.
Yeah,
so he knows what he's doing.
So you have all those weapons on offense, and then they added in round 4. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. Yeah, Alberto.
That's what everyone's
from Missouri.
Yeah.
So he's kind of one of those more raw talent. He has speed and size. The production isn't quite where you want it to be, but you could see why they chose him. And also, he was a teammate of Drew Lock's at Missouri.
Oh, Drew Lock was ecstatic when they got him.
And so you could run double tight ends with him and Noah Fant. So they have a stacked offense now, and then you already have on defense, you got frickin' Bradley Chubb back with Von Miller, and then they got a cornerback from Iowa, which he had 3 interceptions each of the past 2 years.
Oe Moody, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, and Iowa had a solid defense, and he was a starting corner for him, and had pretty productive years or productive seasons the past few years at corner, like pretty good cornerback. So you could plug him in right away. And then you have Vic Fangio, so I'm not even worried about the defense. And now their offense is, Drew Lock doesn't have an excuse. He has all the weapons in the world. And he played good last year, but he has all the weapons in the world. Like John Elway surrounded him with everything he needs to succeed.
And what should scare other teams in the AFC West is the fact that all of those offensive weapons are so young.
Oh yeah.
Like that, they're going to be there for years to come, and if they can mesh together, that's going to be a dangerous team.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I gave them an A, which is obviously solid. The only reason I didn't go A plus is because I think they needed to add another lineman besides just a center from LSU. I don't know if it was their left guard or tackle last year when they played the Bears, but he literally had like 5 false starts that game, and it got to a point where the ref even the announcer said I think the ref felt bad to a point to where he just called a different number because it was like 3 plays in a row where he jumped off false start, and it was just pathetic. So, but I mean, other than that, they didn't. So they could have went with another lineman earlier. But I mean, dude, they had a great draft. If I'm a Denver Broncos fan, I'm excited.
And as long as fans can go to games, it's so hard to beat Denver.
High, yeah. They sell out. They sell out every game.
They truly have a home field advantage.
Yeah.
So if fans are allowed to go to games this season, with that talented defense and then with the young
talent on offense,
it's going to be another year with Fangio and Locke there. They're going to be a tough team this year.
Good job, John Elway. So who do you got second, Corey?
I had the Chargers at second.
Same.
I gave them a B. What did you give them?
I gave them an A minus.
Okay, well, so we'll go into why I gave them a B, and then Kyle could kind of try and back himself up over here. First, they picked their quarterback for the future.
Mm-hmm.
This actually,
their apparent Philip Rivers.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert, he was a big prospect before college. He's a big body. Physically, he's gifted. They know he can sling the ball. He has a big arm. My thing is, one of the reasons I actually didn't give him an A is maybe I'm biased, but I think Jake Fromm's better than Justin Herbert, personally. And so I just thought that they could have waited later to get Fromm or someone else to replace Rivers. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But you do have to be excited. I mean, not to sound rude or anything, but Tyrod Taylor's not the long-term answer. He's kind of like he's like a bridge gap kind of guy.
Backup. I mean, he's good for the quarterback room and stuff. But
he can win games for you.
He's like Jacoby Brissett or something. He's not going to lead you anywhere.
He can definitely groom.
Jacoby Brissett's a great backup too, but he's not a starter for the Colts. He wasn't.
Well, he could groom Herbert, and that's the thing.
Well, I think you're selling Herbert a little short there, man. People are nitpicking like, oh, he's not vocal. If that's what you have to nitpick, that he's not vocal enough, then he's doing a pretty good job. I mean, the guy, he's huge. Like Corey said, he's got the size. I think he's like 6'3", 220, 230. He's got the arm talent, and he had some success also. I know last year wasn't people wanted to see him elevate a little more after the year before because he was going to be the top quarterback, almost taking him aside Tua maybe, but he ended up being the third best quarterback after Burrow and Tua. But the guy,
Burrow,
he had a good season, and he led Oregon to a Rose Bowl victory over Wisconsin. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think he's a solid quarterback. I think it was a great pick. I think he was third best quarterback in the draft. And I mean, first you had Burrow had the best season ever in college football, and then you have Tua, who's one of the best quarterbacks ever in college football.
Yeah, with the quarterback, we'll never know. And I don't mean to always bring this up to Kyle, but come on, Trubisky, like no one knew what he was going to be. And I mean, now Bears fans are crying about him.
I'm not crying. I'm giving him one more year.
But the thing is,
I'm not jumping off the boat yet.
People don't realize how hard it is to be a quarterback in the NFL. So to actually hit on a quarterback, especially in the draft, it's very difficult.
Trust me, I know.
Very difficult. That's why the teams that are always successful have good franchise quarterbacks. But their next pick was a guy that was mocked for the Saints to get. A lot of people thought Saints were going to snag him, and he's a good linebacker from Oklahoma. Kenneth Murray.
Second best linebacker besides Isaiah Simmons.
He kind of, I mean, if you think about it, he's like an old school traditional linebacker, in my opinion. He's a smart player. He played and started for years at Oklahoma.
He was the leader of that defense, and even though LSU wiped everyone out with their offense, but they were a very, very well improved defense last year, and he was the anchor of that defense.
Oh yeah, they never have a good defense, and he did.
And he is that new linebacker that people look for that can cover receivers, tight ends. That's an athletic freak.
Yeah.
So I think those first two picks solid. I like the round 4 pick, Josh Kelly, the running back from UCLA. I mean, so they lost Melvin Gordon, we know, but I mean, Austin Eckler, and Justin Jackson from Northwestern. They're both, as long as they're both healthy, they're both good.
They're gonna have a very good running.
And the one from UCLA, he has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and I think he had over like 7. I mean, he can catch the ball too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's great with his yak.
Yeah, I don't have numbers, but I mean, he can. He's already a back. You know, a lot of running backs, that is their issue. Like the only thing I think people could even nitpick with Wisconsin's running back Jonathan Taylor was like, oh, he needs to catch more. Well, this guy can catch out of the backfield, back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns, and they already have two good running backs. So just like how the Niners had, or the Seahawks before the injuries, they each, if when healthy, had three-headed monsters. Well, now the Chargers can.
And it's gotten to a point
and that's
now.
round 4, man. A round 4 pick who could produce.
Only Derrick Henry is sitting there running like an old school running back. They're just feeding him the ball 30 times a game, and he's running straight up and down.
He's a train.
But the rest of the teams are going more like a Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara type running back. One that's versatile, can catch the ball in the backfield, can almost play wide receiver, and that's what you're gonna get out of this guy. He won't be as good as them, but he could be good.
Yeah, and also their next pick, Joe Reed. That's it. Joe Reed, the wide receiver from Virginia. So he led the team in receptions and catches. And Virginia, they kind of avenged themselves last year. I mean, they even beat Virginia Tech, which was awesome. That game was amazing in that rivalry. They haven't beat them in years. But he was the team's leading receiver, and he's also a kick return specialist. So you get both of them out of him.
So
and they got him in round 5.
My favorite pick for the Chargers was KJ Hill.
Oh, dude.
How does he drop to the 7th round?
He broke David Boston's record.
He literally, okay, you want to look at Ohio State receivers, that's one thing, their history.
Michael Thomas,
Number 2,
Michael Jenkins.
Exactly. Michael Thomas went to Ohio State. KJ Hill had a better college career.
Best receiver in the history of Ohio State.
Yes. And that's
and he was a round 7 pick.
Round 7.
Hello, Green Bay. Are you out there?
I know it was a deep draft with wide receivers, but you can't knock his game. He's not the most physically gifted, the most athletic, but he does his job. And I would take one of those players any day of the week.
And and that was who they get in round 6, safety from Notre Dame, Gilman. So that's why, Corey, I ranked them in A. They got 1, 2, 3, 4.
So just about each
5 guys. 5 guys who could honestly 5 picks all the way from round 1 to 7 that could start or come in and still contribute day 1, week 1. So that's why I gave the Chargers an A-. I mean, they got compliments for Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and they got a lot of help for Herbert. So I think the Chargers nailed it. And they were a year removed from being in the playoffs and a Super Bowl contender.
Well, so they were about 20 Phillip Rivers interceptions removed from making the playoffs.
So I think the Chargers, again, just like the Broncos did, they got a lot of good weapons and a lot on offense to try and keep pace with the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly.
Copycat league. So that's number 2. What do you got for third, Corey?
So, third place for me in this division, draft-wise, I have the Raiders.
The Raiders?
Yep, that's right. The Las Vegas Raiders. So, for me, I gave them also a B.
Same, I gave them a B.
I like what they did. We kind of touched on it a little bit ago. Their first pick could have been a shock to people, but if you know anything about the Raiders' history, the whole speed kills kind of mentality, you knew they were going to get Henry Ruggs. Yeah, they fall in love with those speed guys.
Yeah, and again, Copycat League, Tyreek Hill, and the Chiefs are offense is a track team, and so with receivers you could go with route running, you can go with size, you can go with speed. They went with the best one with speed. He has the elite speed, and he averaged 18 yards a catch.
Well, and
18 yards a catch.
If you've listened to any of our
good luck trying to keep up with him on covering him.
Any of our mock draft podcasts, if you listen to any of them, we talked about very often that he's not just a fast guy who plays football. He's a football player that's fast. And there's a big difference. He has great hands. He's a great route runner. But on top of that, he is just very, very fast.
Yeah.
And I heard an analyst say this the other day, but it was pretty funny. They're like, the part with Ruggs, if you see the back of his jersey, he's gone. He's one of those players that in NFL, if he gets behind you, good luck. He's scoring. He's always going to make big plays when he gets his hands on the ball. So I thought it was a good pick.
And then their other round 1 pick, some people thought it was a reach, but Damon Arnett, cornerback from Ohio State, the reason I don't think it's a reach is Ohio State, along with LSU, is DBU. All they do is just pump out these amazing cornerbacks and secondary players. And Damon Arnett, actually, before the draft, they were talking to Okuda, who was hands down the best corner in the draft. And that's who he said he thinks was, I know it's his teammate, but he's like, dude, I think he's the most underrated corner. Besides him, they were asking who else, and it's him. It's because he was, it's like he was overshadowed because of Okuda's play. But he's solid, dude. He's going to just plug and play. Well, he's going to be a great cover corner.
People forget that Gruden used to scout people all the time when he wasn't coaching. He would sit there and meet with college prospects all the time going into the draft. He does his homework. They know what they're doing. I mean, I thought last year's draft they did good on.
Josh Jacobs, they nailed it. He would have won Rookie of the Year if he didn't, and he still was playing through the shoulder injuries, but he would have won Rookie of the Year. If he
just wasn't a popular player. Yeah, it's a lot of his popularity, but
and quarterbacks usually get awards.
And then I mean another player, which everybody's trying to get these gadget players now, Bowden Jr.
Dude.
Out of Kentucky. That guy, he's a quarterback receiver running.
I don't even care what he is because you want a player like that who literally somebody goes down or something, he's like, Coach, put me in.
Oh, he does.
Coach, I'll play this, I'll do that. And then he still performs. Like, you want to talk about gadget player? The guy had, listen to this. So he ended up playing quarterback, you know? He led him to a bowl game. He had 1,500 rushing yards. He led the team in receiving. He was a kick returner, and he was top 5 in all-purpose yards in the entire country.
Yeah.
And you know how I brought up earlier how Hamler was a finalist for that most versatile player in the country award? He won it.
Oh, of course.
Most versatile player in the country.
Well, he's doing this against SEC defenses too.
So if you're a good coach, you're gonna find a spot for this guy in the field.
Oh, he's gonna be kind of like how we talked about Hamler previously. They're gonna find ways to get this guy the ball.
What do you do? Receiving, rushing, quarterback, kick return, he could do. You're gonna find a spot for him.
He's gonna get the ball and he's gonna make plays.
So you get him in round 3, and then they got 2 other, I think, decent picks in round 3.
I love Muse. Muse
for Clemson. He's a hybrid linebacker. So he's that athletic linebacker. He led the team in interceptions.
Oh,
he led Clemson, who's got a good defense in interceptions, a linebacker.
Well, and he's another one of those guys that I think his stock fell because, okay, he's not the most athletic. He doesn't stand out with this, that. He just does what's asked of him. He's going to be a hard worker. He's very smart, too.
Yeah.
Good leadership skills, too. They rave about him, the coaches and his former teammates at Clemson. The Raiders are starting to become like a Clemson U.
I was just going to say, Mike Mayock loves Clemson.
Yeah, and it's working.
Yeah, and Clemson, dude, I mean, come on. Clemson, I make fun of their schedule and stuff, but, I mean, they are a powerhouse. It's the SEC, and then outside of that, it's just Clemson, Ohio State. Well, so if you're taking players from Clemson, they produce, man. You're doing it. I mean, come on.
A lot of teams.
They're NFL talent.
A lot of teams do that
across the board.
The Saints basically snag a lot of Ohio State guys.
Bears do Georgia.
Cleveland's LSU. You have a lot of teams they do that. They take from who is it that's
working?
Who is it? Is it Washington that keeps taking Alabama guys now? And it's just like people.
Oh, their D-line.
Yeah, they just go after a certain school.
Well, if it's working, and then the players know them, so they can help kind of recruit them for you. You have a relationship with the coaching staff and the people on them, and you know.
Before we transition, Kyle.
Wait, we didn't say 2 though. One more, sorry.
That's who I want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Talk about Meek Robertson.
No. I mean, he was coming up, and I had one more in round 3.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, but Meek Robertson deserves praise over this guy.
Yeah, it was just because the competition the school he was at.
Yeah, he literally, I mean, I might be biased because Louisiana Tech, but dude, he literally, if you watch this guy's film, he only had a couple nationally televised games, and people were just raving about him. He a poor man's Tyrann Mathieu. He finds the ball wherever it's at. He makes plays. He's exciting. Electric almost. Like he's gonna find his way probably on special teams first, but watch out for him in a couple years.
And I'd rather take somebody. He's gonna have that chip on his shoulder. I'd rather somebody who produced at a smaller school, than somebody who's at a big school but they don't have the numbers. Because then it's like, what's going on here? I'd rather somebody be at a smaller school but produce.
Yeah,
have that chip on their shoulder, be the underdog, than somebody who like went to Ohio State or somewhere and they just never once like lived up or produced. And it's like, what's going on here? Why would they?
You just kind of know something's wrong.
And then in round 3 also, going back to round 3, they got Brian Edwards, a wide receiver from South Carolina.
Oh, I forgot about that pick.
Yeah, he's got good upside. His problem's been injury issues, but he's got a high ceiling, and he was their leader, their best receiver. I know South Carolina's not the powerhouse they used to be, but still, he was their leading receiver.
They're competitive.
Yeah, and he's got big upside if he could just stay healthy. I mean, it's worth the risk.
They beat Georgia.
And then he already said Meek Robertson, and then they got an offensive guard from Clemson in that same round as Robertson, round 4. So Clemson, that big line he was protecting for Trevor Lawrence, and then also for Etienne, the running back there for the running game. So if you're starting lineman at Clemson, their offense was amazing. So he's doing a good job. So I think they had a great draft. They didn't go with the biggest name. Some people might think they might have reached on Arnett.
They usually don't, though. They go after who they want.
Well, they went for productive players in college. They went after their 2 biggest needs, wide receiver and cornerback. So I think I think they were solid picks.
Mike Mayock.
You got Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and there were people who started on those teams, so
they know what they're doing. Mayock and Gruden.
Yeah,
I believe in it. It's going to be a process.
They'll develop the players and get the best.
Yeah, they are a young team, and I think they're well coached. I give them a couple seasons. I think they're going to get better each year. Funny that we say we both have the Chiefs graded the lowest, but in my opinion, this division's one of the best in the draft. Yeah. So when we say we gave them the lowest grade, they did not do bad in the draft.
Well, they only had 5 draft picks.
Yeah,
they only had 5 picks.
They don't have many holes. They're
Super Bowl champions.
They're like San Francisco and New Orleans going into the draft. They didn't have many holes to fill, and it's what Kyle just said. They're reigning Super Bowl champions. So, you mind if I start with the first player, just because again, LSU. I mean, I love this pick. People were shocked he was the first running back taken. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The only reason
I wasn't.
Yeah, and the only reason he wasn't praised more is because
he's like the typical Alvin Kamara. Versatile he is.
He can run great yards after catch, great route runner when he catches the ball, and he's elusive when he gets the ball. He's short, has a low center of gravity,
and it looks like he's dancing. Good luck tackling him. He's toe tapping his way to the end zone.
He never goes down off of the first hit, and he literally got overshadowed because of how explosive and high power our offense was passing this season. But if you look back at
that game he had against Alabama,
absolute stud. And this was his first year starting because LSU always has good running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire does have a lot of tread on his tires. He was explosive in college already. Just great gifts. He's talented.
Yeah, and he's literally that new, just like how the linebacker, you want that positionless hybrid linebacker. That's the new kind of running back you want, man. It's not, I mean, besides Derrick Henry, I love Derrick Henry. He's still keeping the old bruiser running back still in the league. He's that new running back you want, and he's going to fill the shoes of, because when Kareem Hunt
in the team, trouble with
he's going to fill that. Because Damon Williams, he did awesome in the playoffs and Super Bowl, but he's not
injury prone.
And he's not somebody who I want as my number one running back for the whole season. Yeah, exactly. So, they now, I mean, and it's that, dude, did Pat Mahomes really need another weapon? Like, my God.
With the receivers they have, it's going to be like he's back at LSU.
Yeah.
With that offense last year, it's going to be the same thing.
I mean, that right there, great pick. And then, Corey, you want to go into their second pick from Mississippi State, linebacker?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Kyle says this because I wanted the Saints to get him. Willie Gay Jr., if you don't know who he is or haven't heard of him, there's a reason. He was the second best linebacker prospect in this draft, and honestly, probably the second most athletically gifted player in this draft behind Isaiah Simmons. He's that good, but he didn't see the field often because he was suspended so many times. He punched his quarterback and broke his jaw.
Yeah, I'm shocked the Cowboys didn't try going after him.
And he had a couple other things in college. He might have a little bit of a temper, but man, when there's film when he got into games, he had like 16 tackles, two forced fumbles, and one of the games he was in past season in the SEC. Every game he was in and playing, his name was called multiple times. He was always around the ball. He's an athletic freak. If he could stay out of trouble, he's
literally his only flaw is character issues, and I know that can be a big flaw, but he's a kid still. I know he's going to NFL, and if anybody can put somebody on the right track, dude, it's Andy Reid. Man. That guy. If they look at him as like a second father figure, I know Andy Reid's gonna, dude. If he takes that aggression out and in between the numbers, just on the field, takes it all out there, which I have no doubt in my mind, Andy Reid's gonna, fix those character issues and whatnot, and that's why it's such a steal for him that he fell there, because it's like, dude, he is like an Isaiah Simmons.
He would have been a first round pick if he didn't have a pass.
The first two picks solid. Round 3, they took an offensive tackle from TCU. I can't say I watched him play, but I will tell you it's more protection for Mahomes. And then round 4, L'Jarius Sneed. It's a safety from Louisiana Tech.
And they got a corner from Tulane.
Yep. Which that's what I was going to say. They took 3 guys from the state of Louisiana.
They know what's happening.
3 guys from the state of Louisiana.
Best
Louisiana Tech,
state.
a player from Louisiana Tech, LSU, and Tulane. They can play football down there, down the South especially, SEC. But the safety and the cornerback, they lost Fuller and most of their secondary.
Well, Breland just got arrested this offseason too, who they re-signed.
Yeah.
And he's their starting corner.
So they lost a lot of their secondary, which, you lose players after Super Bowl and whatnot. So they addressed that. So, they addressed some team needs. They addressed the secondary. They got somebody, because their offense already stacked, but they got that running back. So they only had 5 picks, but you know what? They did a good job. The first 2 picks are the ones that stand off the page to me. The other picks, I'm just the other picks, they might not make the roster. Like they, it'd be cool if they do. But the first two picks will contribute and are Super Bowl champs, so I give them a C plus.
I gave them a B minus, kind of benefit of the doubt, just because they are Super Bowl champs. They didn't have a lot of holes to fill, and I absolutely love their first two picks.
Yeah.
I just think they'll be contributors right away. And they know what they're doing in that organization. Even when Alex Smith was at quarterback, they were.
Andy Reid's, and I'm happy he got a Super Bowl. Amazing coach. So I think this division's on the rise.
Great division.
The Raiders, they kind of did the opposite. They tried to come back and get defense to go up against the Chiefs. The other teams, they all drafted offense to compete with the Chiefs, like to match them in scoring, and the Raiders went with defense. I think the Chargers, it's all depending on how Herbert does, but they could be right back in the playoff.
They weren't too far off.
Yeah. Raiders, they had spurts last year. I think they're going in the right direction.
There was at one point they were a playoff
and Broncos. I could see the Broncos grabbing a wild card. So that AFC West, man, that's the division to reckon with. And they did have very good draft, all the teams too. So that's it for the AFC West. So next we're going to cover the AFC East, guys. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening, guys. Go Saints. Who dat?
Bear down, my Bear Leavers.